You can't deny that 2025 has been a banger year for games. I mean, we got a great Snake Eater remake. The Dying Light sequel was really good. Top contender for Game of the Year, Expedition 33. Battlefield 6 released with mostly praise. Arc Raiders fairly recently. Even anime slappers like the Demon Slayer game. But there's one genre I want to talk about specifically that's had an absolutely ass to butt year so far, with only about one AAA release even in the genre. Roguelikes or roguelites. Look, if you're gonna give me shit about which is which, just know you're probably about one of the only people that actually cares. Look, I know there's a difference in which one lets you take items to the next run and which one doesn't. Nobody gives a shit. But if you've been paying any attention, this has been the year for indie roguelikes, which is why today I wanted to give a rundown of my top 5/top recommendations. In no real specific order. I mean, I am saving number 1 for probably the one I had the most time in, but every one I'm gonna say is very good in its own right. And no two games here are very close gameplay wise other than sharing the same genre name. So going directly into it, number 5, I'm starting with the one most people have probably heard of here, Megabonk. I definitely went through the addiction phase with this one, as probably almost anybody else has played it. It's pretty akin to Vampire Survivors, if you know that, but with 3D graphics. You walk around auto-attacking while dodging enemies, collecting items, collecting weapons, and then finding boss portals, advancing your run. And each one, it gets a little harder. It's so easy to let addiction take over in this game, whether it's class hunting, competing with the boys for the number 1 spot in the board, or even just going for the 100%. This shit will keep you well fed. Number 4 is slots and daggers. I was in this game like it was Fent. I mean, my first runs in here had me up till 4 a.m. looking like SpongeBob when he wakes up inside the Goofy Goober ice cream boat. It's essentially a roguelike with turn-based combat, but your turns are determined by the spins on a slot machine. You add and take out symbols on the machine that could be used for attacking or blocking or magic missiles, any kind of shit like that. And honestly, this game had the dopamine shooting into my brain like I was over here fucking injecting it myself. And honestly, if it just had a little bit more meat on its bones, it probably could have been number 1 here for me. But it took me probably around 3 or 4 hours to completely 100% this game, achievements and everything. Which for the price point, not bad. Not bad at all. That's pretty good time for the price you're going to spend on this bad boy. Just compared to some of the others on the list, they just had a little more in them to keep you going. To keep me going anyway. That being said though, it leaves me pretty excited to see what does get added to this in the future and updates. Even DLC maybe. At number 3, we got Mortal Sin. Now, while this game isn't exactly brand new, it just left early access for the 1.0 full release this year. And I gotta say, I loved this shit. Super Berserk inspired from the world, even to most of the classes. I mean, the starting class is called Berserker, and you start with a giant sword. One of the weapons you find is called like the 100-man Slayer or something. Something close to that. I don't fully remember, but it's obvious it's straight from Berserk, which pretty much sums it up right there. You go on runs through various dungeons in an FPS camera style, melee combat or magic. Pretty similar still, you know. You're swinging swords, you're kicking feet, you're throwing hands, or you're shooting magic missiles. That's what this style of game is. It's actually a lot deeper than you'd think firsthand though. There's actually quite a lot of mechanics to master in the game. That mixed with the fact I'm a huge Berserk guy, I'd highly recommend Mortal Sin, especially if you love the kind of aesthetics that goes with it, as well as fairly deep melee combat. Number 2, we got Absolum. Something like that. And I gotta be honest, this one took me by surprise. It's a roguelike beat 'em up. It's got multiple classes, the paths, and the overarching story is actually pretty good. There's an overarching story to the whole game. Each class has their own storyline that you can kind of learn the more runs you go through. They have like their own dialogue with each other. You can tell they put a lot of care into that kind of stuff in this game. And I was genuinely surprised by how addicted I actually got to the beat 'em up style, especially given the fact I was never really into the beat 'em up shit back in its heyday. But the roguelike element added in especially really pushed this shit into overdrive. So whether you like beat 'em ups or roguelikes, or even just smaller pick up and play games, I think Absolum would tickle your udders quite nicely. Now, number 1. Not one I would say is specifically better than any of the others on the list, but the one I probably had the most fun in personally and put the most time in, and that is Ball X Pit. Ball X Pit takes the gameplay style of those games like Zuma your mom and old ass grandma used to play back in the day, and combines it with roguelike as well as its own unique mechanics to sort of morph itself into this hyper addictive ball shooting monster fighting dungeon crawler morphtronic fusion type shit. It's like they took everything that vigorous, attractive young men and women would possibly want and morphed it into this one video game. I don't really know how else to explain it other than just checking it out for yourself. So yeah, that's the list. Honorable mention, Elden Ring Night Rain. That's a AAA, so I didn't really throw it in here for the list. I didn't think it really needed to take up a spot, given the fact I mainly wanted to put it towards the indies, but another roguelike that came out this year. So still though, pretty good in its own right. And I also love Elden Ring, and I put quite a decent amount of hours into Night Rain. And DLC coming out soon too, so I'll probably put more hours into it then. That's the list. I highly suggest checking out probably each one I put out here. But 2025 has been a pretty fucking crazy year for the gamers out there, and I just wanted to make this small video sucking off the 5 indie games I've been putting a lot of time into. And I think all 5 of those deserve all the success or love that they get. And that's about it. Comment any you think I might have missed, in your humble opinion, because mine's the factually correct one, or how banging you think my list was. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.